call 352-266-0333 for your free document management evaluation today.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Just last hour, we were listening to the Veterans News. Dr. Mark Lamm was in, not Mark, Dr. Mark Knapp was in here. Dr. Steven Lamm is on the phone right now. I got confused there. But anyway, and Dr. Knapp was talking about, some of the things that affect our health. And of course, he was specifically speaking to veterans. And I noticed that weight loss affected a lot of different things, and not just something cosmetic. It is actually a very healthy thing to be the proper weight. And it was interesting to listen to the body mass index part of that as well. You could be, on some kind of a scale, you could look like you were overweight if you were a muscle bodybuilder, but if your body mass index or something like that was okay, I guess you are okay. But anyway, I wanted to tell you about an advertising campaign that works, okay? The advertising campaign is on the side of that snack machine. You know that snack machine that sells those little crackers?
Oh, yeah.
2 crackers, and in the middle of they're orange, and they got peanut butter in the middle?
I love those.
Okay, right, I know. And on the snack machine itself, it has these words. Are you ready? It says, "Why go around hungry?" That's exactly what it says. Why go around hungry? Not around. Why go around hungry?
Yes.
And so I would look at that and go, you are right, Mr. Snack Machine. Why put myself through that torture of going around hungry? Let me put 75 cents in this machine, and bingo, there's my prize, right?
Yeah.
And what happens after I do that for, 50 years? or however long I've been doing it? I got fat, right? So I tried, and I've been doing pretty good. I no longer go around. I do go around hungry now. I no longer go to the snack machine, right? I try to eat the right foods and limit the portions and everything. And I think it's working a little bit. I looked at a photo from maybe 6 months ago, and I said, hey, I think it's working a little bit here.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dr. Steven Lamm is on the phone. He has a book. It's called Fighting Fat: Breaking the Dieting Cycle and Getting Healthy for Life. I hope you will indulge me and allow me to speak about this topic. Maybe some of you relate to this, but I wanted to hear more because it's my thing right now, Robin. It's my thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Lamm is a practicing internist. He's a faculty member at New York University School of Medicine. He's on a lot of the TV shows. He's on The View, Fox News, Nightline, Dateline, Today Show, and now he's honoring us by being on our little show, AM Ocala Live. He's also the director of the NYU Preston Robert Tisch Center for Men's Health, and his book again is called Fighting Fat. Good morning, Dr. Steven Lamm. I hope that wasn't too awkward of an interview for you. Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You got a great voice.
Well, we're going to have a couple of interesting things to talk about. I think I think this whole subject, of obesity obviously is a major preoccupation. 65% of people are overweight. And here's a sad piece of information. When you tell people to diet and exercise, and unfortunately it doesn't work. It doesn't work probably 95% of the time. So the issue is going to be why. And, why hasn't the medical profession really gotten involved? And what can we really do to try to make a dent, make a difference? Because if we don't make a difference, we're going to go broke treating this disease and treating the complications of this disease. So I'm happy to try to address any of these issues and talk to you about that, the fast food stuff that you pick up and the snacks and what is the likelihood that this will work for you in the long run.
Yeah, excellent.
So I'm excited to actually share some thoughts with you.
Oh, good. And we do have some questions. Let me ask you first, where are you? Where are you calling from?
Well, I am the director of men's health for NYU, and we have the most amazing facility you could possibly imagine. It's at 555 Madison Avenue, New York City, as a result of this incredibly generous donation from the Tisch family. We're talking about $15-20 million.
Wow.
We have the most state-of-the-art facility with 25 doctors. This is all NYU driven. Everybody's a professor here. It's a very integrated program. And, look, I'm the director, and I'm interested in a lot of diseases that have fallen between the cracks in medicine. And although you'd think of men's health primarily about testosterone and erections and all that kind of stuff, course, we're experts in that. But I think that
Yes, you
you
are.
can't be a men's center without being an expert in this. Trust me, right? And one day you can have me talking about that. I'm happy to share my thoughts.
Yeah.
But I'm going to talk about obesity because, believe it or not, obesity really affects men's sexuality more than anything else.
Well, because if you're so fat you can't see your erection, that's a real problem.
Well, let's put it this way: for every 20 pounds you lose, the penis will actually look an inch longer.
Oh no! Oh no!
For no other reason, I want your listeners to listen to me. All right?
There you go.
Plus, I think it's way more comfortable for the lady. I think it's way more comfortable for the lady.
Oh my God!
Let's see a couple of questions about weight loss. What happens when? Let me phrase it this way: is it true? People will say, because when you have a cold, everybody gives you advice on what to do. Well, same thing when you're trying to lose weight. Everybody will tell you what to do. And this is one thing I've heard, and I want you to tell me what your response is to this. You're going to plateau out. You're stuck. You're doing your diet, and eventually you're going to plateau out, and you're not going to lose any more at all, and you got to change what you're doing. Is that true?
100%.
All right, explain.
100% true. Okay, so the body is doing everything it can to defend against weight loss. We have been genetically programmed that if there's not a lot of food around, that somehow the body would go into a defensive mode to stop you from losing weight. Otherwise, we would all die when there wasn't a lot of food around. Unfortunately, we have so much food around that we never get to the point where it's not an issue of availability. If anything, we have so much around that the upside, that is the ability to gain weight, is not being restricted. In other words, the body has no defense against overeating, all right? And so we can continue to gain weight.
Oh, that's interesting.
5 pounds. But you can't go the other way around. So the body will, unfortunately, and that's really what the book's all about, which is, why people are fat. What are the mechanisms that promote fatness, and not being as much concerned about weight loss, which everybody can do. Okay, it's how do you prevent weight gain? And that's where the mechanisms come in place, and that's where the science came in. And so to continue to have people preoccupied with the weight loss component is really it's really a mistake, because first of all, 95% of people are going to regain their weight, and they're going to regain their weight because there are signals that come from your brain that tell you need to eat. And so you can walk around that machine 100 times. At some point, you're going to give in because you can't control those signals. You understand? And that's the big problem. So I think what's happened is the medical profession has literally abdicated its role in the management of obesity, because we basically share the same bias that the general public does, which is people are overweight because they're stupid and lazy. And that's just not the case, all right? There is such, and I can then go into it, but
well, yeah, and what I heard, heard John Tesh say, and I like John Tesh, but I think I have an issue with one thing. He said that thinner people think better than fatter people.
Yes.
I said, come on.
Think differently. No. They think that's the point. How can we think this way? This is insanity, all right? I mean, just think the most famous personality on television struggles with her weight. The governors of multiple states are overweight. These are not stupid people. These are not unmotivated people. But these people have a biology which sabotages their best efforts. Do you understand that one potato chip per day, 10 calories per day, translates to 1 pound per year, 10 pounds in 10 years. There's no brain that regulates that. That's not under your control.
Okay, and I've heard that. But let me ask you this. But I don't understand why the opposite isn't true. Why, if you were if you were to reduce your intake by a small amount of calories per day, why doesn't it go down the same way it goes up?
I'll tell you, because once again, the body biologically has been created to defend against weight loss. So what happens is when you reduce your weight by, let's say, 5 or 10%, your metabolic rate drops by about 20%. So you're constantly being asked to eat less and less in order to continue to maintain your weight loss. And at some point, you can't keep eating less and less. Your metabolism just keeps dropping, all right? And on top of that, you're now also releasing neurotransmitters to your brain to tell you that you're hungry. In other words, I could tell you, for example, don't wear a coat in the winter, right? Is your brain ever going to feel comfortable? Is the brain ever not going to tell you that you're
cold? Good point. That's a really good illustration. Yeah,
you can do it for a period of time, but you can't do it indefinitely.
Dr. Lamm, we have to take a little break, but we'll be right back. We got about a 3-minute break. We'll be right back. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Clouds and some sunshine today. There can be a shower around this afternoon. The high 81 to 85. Partly cloudy and mild tonight. Those 62 and then 68 along the coast. Sunshine and some clouds tomorrow. A warm day. High 84 to 88. For Saturday, partly sunny and very warm. The high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Chip, you never cease to amaze me. What in the world are you building with all those sticks and cardboard?
Well, Mr. Marketing Guy, I'm making signs to announce the great lease offers at Ford Lincoln of Ocala and Village Ford of Bellevue.
Really? What do you plan on calling it?
Sign and Ride. Get it?
That's not how it works. Sign and Ride is all about fantastic lease offers on Fusions, Escapes, Fiestas, Explorers, and remaining 2014 Focuses.
Wait a minute. If I understand correctly, Sign and Ride would mean 0 down payment?
Right.
0 first month's payment?
Right again.
And 0 due at signing?
Now you're on the right track. Don't waste time. Head to Ford Lincoln of Ocala and Village Ford of Bellevue today and see how easy it can be to drive off in America's favorite brand.
And if you're planning to buy a new Ford, 0% financing for 72 months on select new 2015 Fords.
Whether you buy or lease, now's the best time to head to Ford Lincoln of Ocala or Village Ford of Bellevue, your family of Ford dealerships where we've got what it takes.
Not all buyers or models qualify for Sign and Ride offer or 0% financing. See dealer for complete details.
All right, 16 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We're talking about a book called Fighting Fat. One size does not fit all, it says on the book cover. Break the dieting cycle and get healthy for life. Dr. Steven Lamm is on the phone up in New York City on Madison Avenue, which is not too far from Mad Magazine, by the way.
I love that.
That's what I know. It's the kind of information I can share with you. Dr. Lamm is going to tell you something important, which is how to lose weight. Doctor, there was one thing I thought about during the break that I wanted to ask you too. Is this true? They say that people who are obese don't really lose fat; they just shrink their fat cells. But people who are always the right weight or skin, not skinny, but lean, the right weight, they don't have the same fat cells that obese people have, and so it's the fat cells that get fat and skinny, but it's not that they lose fat. Is that true?
Well, it's hard to lose the fat cells, and we definitely do make those fat cells, shrink. But the important thing, whether there's a difference between the fat cells in overweight people or thin people, is a function of the size of those fat cells. You see, what happens is that fat cells can get really angry. They get really angry, and when they get angry because they've been bloated, then they're surrounded by white cells, and then they literally explode. Okay, and these fat cells, when they explode, they release substances which are extremely toxic. They're called adipokines, and it explains why fat people develop diabetes and develop heart disease and develop cancer. These substances that are being released by fat cells are extremely toxic. So I look at these things like a toxic dump, okay, and I'm going, oh my God, it's not just about what they, that a person may not appear as nice as you might think, although that's a personal issue. I see the toxicity from these fat cells, and so we have to do everything not to make them angry, not to inflame them, and I think that that's the real issue, and so the real goal, and one of the things we want to mention in the book, is that people think that they have to lose 50 pounds to get healthier. They don't. They need to lose 5 or 10%. And so, for example, if you're 200 pounds and you get down to 180, that's a difference between being on insulin, being on a blood pressure medicine, being on cholesterol medicine.
Wow. Well, I heard that walking.
The body can do.
I heard that walking is a great way to prevent diabetes.
Okay. It's not that it's a great way of preventing diabetes. It's a great way of preventing and reducing the likelihood of obesity, which then drives diabetes. But they're actually showing that to prevent diabetes metabolically, you actually have to have a more intense exercise program. And although walking may be all you can do at a certain point in your life, the reality is the more intense the program, the greater the likelihood that you will prevent and reverse some of the metabolism. And the problem is that exercise is absolutely a necessary component, but it's got to be anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes 5 days a week. Now, that's a lot. I appreciate that. But give me a different disease, and I'll tell you the different solution. Like if you have asthma, I'll tell you don't have any cat. But with reference to obesity, unfortunately, if you are genetically predisposed to being overweight, okay, you better engage in exercise because that's the only thing that the body cannot overcome. So if you're doing 30, 35 minutes, 40 minutes on a treadmill or you're spinning or, the body is going to let you keep losing weight. And that's, by the way, how you overcome those plateaus. It's not about it's doing the exercise.
How do the stars do it? Since you're the house doctor on The View, I know when Renee Zellweger had one role for a couple of movies, she had to gain a lot of weight, and then she had to lose it after that. I mean, what do the stars do differently than us?
Well, here's what happens is, as I said, obesity is not about a failure to lose weight. Anybody can lose weight. If I give you 500 calories a day, okay, you will lose about 8 to 10 pounds the first week. You'll lose about 6 to 8 pounds the second week, 6 pounds thereafter, and then it keeps going down. So they can lose a lot of weight over a short period of time, but it's not sustainable. Okay, nobody, let's say if you are significantly overweight and you starve yourself, and we've done these experiments where we've given people literally 500 calories, we've trained them, we've gotten nutritionists, we've done the psychologists, we've done everything we could possibly do over a 12, 16-week period. Follow them over a 2-year period, they all regain their weight. And that's what's frustrating. And that's why we now need to introduce the new science. So don't think about obesity as weight loss. Think about it as how do you prevent the weight regain? What is the basis for why people gain weight? And I think what you're going to discover is people who are not sleeping, people who travel all the time, people who have a lot of stress and chaos in their lives, and who doesn't, unfortunately, those are the factors that contribute to the weight regain. It's completely predictable. You look at a politician. If they have gained a lot of weight over their office, I guarantee you they're not doing well. They are not doing well in office.
And some of them, and I think Chris Christie might be an example of this, he's kind of yo-yoing a little bit, I think. But when he went down, and maybe he's still down, I don't know, but he got older looking like real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know what causes that.
I think the office makes you get older, unfortunately.
That could be, yeah.
Amount of body fat makes you look well, But the reality, and unfortunately, he's a perfect example. Look, he's a very bright man. Okay, he's motivated. He's a high. He realizes his political career sometimes is a function of his weight, and this poor guy couldn't control it because is brain chemistry involved. And, even in the best of circumstances, unless you make some intervention, and depending on the severity of your obesity, I mean, if you're 100 pounds overweight, and I have patients who come in, I say to them, look, we're going to try it my way. We're going to try to reduce the medicines that have made you fat. We're going to change your exercise. But in the long run, I'm afraid you may need a surgical intervention, all right? And I'm telling you, unfortunately, that's the current state. Now, I believe in 5 years, we're going to have newer approaches, and I think it's not going to be how much protein, carbs, and fats are going to be in your diet. It's going to be other interventions that alter, the level of your fat cells, how they function, metabolism, and things like that, and that's going to make a big difference.
So, I mean, if you were just to cut out the things that you're eating that you think are the reasons why you're heavy, and you just swear them off. Just like, I mean, you can't swear off all food, like you can swear off all tobacco products. But what if you swore off all snacks and never, ever touch a snack again?
Make a difference. Here's what you have to swear off. Simple sugars and sodas. Okay, so I don't want to be completely negative about this, but this is what I advise patients. Although there's no single diet that's ever been shown long-term to be significantly better than the other, I will introduce my own personal bias, and my bias is you've got to keep your carbs down. You keep potatoes, bread, rice, and noodles down, and be careful, obviously, with these sugary snacks and sodas and juices, okay? So I certainly recommend that you keep them in. Eat, you want to improve the health of, the nutrients in your body. So have an apple, have an apple a couple of times a day, all right? More fiber is healthier. You do the exercise, you try to get some sleep, and you will be better, okay? You will definitely be better, but be aware that certain times of the year, holidays, during periods of stress in the cycle, you're going to be driven mad. And you have to overcome those periods, and you have to work with a doctor. And sometimes there are medications now that we can use. So there's a whole host of new things we can do.
All right, Dr. Lamm, we have a couple of phone calls. Are you okay with taking phone calls?
Sure.
All right, the doctor's book, by the way, is called Fighting Fat. And let's take a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air. All right, let me try another one. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, doctor. Has hypnosis ever been tried with weight control?
Hypnosis has been tried for a million things. No significant positive data. Now, any one person might benefit, just like hypnosis might work for somebody with smoking, but in general, when you do controlled trials, the body overcomes any hypnosis. Believe me, if it worked, I'd be more than happy. So when patients come to me and they say to me, Dr. Lamm, do you mind if I try this or try that? I'm saying, try anything you want, okay? But let's see if this thing works, okay? I can't let you try this for 20 years, all right? But the answer is I wish it did work, but unfortunately, when you do controlled trials, it just hasn't worked.
So when somebody has gone through bariatric surgery, and then they lose the weight, and then they start to regain the weight. And I've known a few people who have done this. Is that because they never changed their habits?
No, it's once again, if they've had the surgery, what happens is they can still take in liquids, all right? So they can overcome the issue with liquids. Now, in general, the bariatric procedures are successful to a degree because it literally alters these signals to your brain. We're not asking people to exert willpower to succeed. It doesn't work. Willpower does not work. Doesn't work in most things, okay? In other words, a thin person is not expending willpower to be thin, okay? They just don't get the signals. So if you're dealing with an overweight person and you do the procedures, you've changed the signals, you've changed the bacteria in their colon, you've changed the insulin, you've changed so many different things. They do it naturally, and that's what, and for some, they can overcome it or override it, and that's why they regain their weight. But for the most part, if you do these procedures, it's going to work.
Again, the book is called Fighting Fat, Break the Dieting Cycle and Get Healthy for Life. One size does not fit all. Dr. Steven Lamm wrote the book. I have a copy of the book. Call me right now if you want the one that was sent to me. The rest of us, however, have to go buy it. Doctor, before we run out of time, can you give us a website, or do we just go to Amazon?
Yeah, if you go to Amazon, that's wonderful. You can follow me on Doc Lamm, on Twitter and Instagram. I'll try to tweet out some interesting fat facts, on a regular basis. But I really hope that your listeners really understand the complexity and the seriousness of obesity and not belittle people who are overweight. Maybe get this book and bring it to your doctor. You're not going to insult the doctor. This book is not written in a condescending way, either to the doctor or to the patient. We're going to be creating a center of metabolism at NYU and fatness. This is serious, and don't delude yourself that you're going to pay a price if you're significantly overweight. And I hope that I've been able to help somebody.
Absolutely. So the last question I have is about salads. I like salad dressing. Is salad dressing a bad idea? Yeah?
No, nonsense. It's got to taste good,
Yeah.
And so add a little fiber, add some healthy food there. But, remember that the single most important determinant that's going to determine how healthy you are is the nutrient value of the foods you eat. So start to eat healthy, all right? Mediterranean-type diet, fruits, vegetables, fiber, stuff that can be fermented. Try to move away from the simple sugars. And that's the most addictive thing. Sugar is a drug. It's not a nutrient, unfortunately. So if you stay away from potatoes, bread, rice, and noodles for the most part, you maintain some exercise program, you make certain you get some sleep, you make certain you're not taking a medicine, some antidepressant that is making you overweight. I'm not telling you to stop it. I'm telling you go to the doctor so they can make an adjustment, all right? And then you have a chance. And you have a fighting chance, and that's why we wrote the book, Fighting Fat.
All right, excellent. Doctor, thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
My pleasure.
Again, it's called Fighting Fat. Dr. Steven Lamm, by the way, spells his last name with 2 M's, not a B, so Lamm. Thank you, Doctor. We will take a little break, and we'll be right back.
weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Clouds and some sunshine today. There can be a shower around this afternoon. The high 81 to 85. Partly cloudy and mild tonight. Low 62 and then 68 along the coast. Sunshine and some clouds tomorrow. A warm day. High 84 to 88. For Saturday, partly sunny and very warm. The high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. 9 arrests in the attack on tourists at a museum in Tunisia. No group has stepped forward to claim responsibility.
ISIS, a prime suspect. Thousands of Tunisians have gone over to Syria and Iraq to fight with ISIS and other groups. Some 500 have returned. An anti-terror bill was being debated in the parliament next door to the museum.
Fox's Greg Palcott, 18 tourists killed.
Among the nationalities of tourists, we just learned that a British person, a woman, was killed, as well as Italian, French, Australian, Japanese. Nearly 50 people were wounded, some being treated right now in hospitals in Tunis, some critical.
The governor of Virginia calling for an investigation into the arrest of a college student shown in a photo with his face bloody as he's held down by an officer. And the number of people filing for first-time jobless help last week holding steady. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Do you run a small business? Do you want it to grow? Well, then don't let your business slow down or shut down because you lost your computer files. Get Carbonite and your files will be backed up to the cloud automatically. No matter how many computers, servers, or external drives you have, Carbonite has an affordable plan. Start a free trial today at Carbonite.com. No credit card required. Use offer code BACKITUP and get 2 free bonus months with purchase. Carbonite.com. Offer code BACKITUP.
In the time you've spent listening to this radio spot, you could have completed and submitted an entire expense report with a simple picture of your receipt. That's all it takes for you to get back to work and for your business to run more efficiently. To learn more and discover all the ways Concur helps manage your company's expenses, just go to tryconcur.com for a free test drive.
My name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine at A Better You Healthcare's Pokin' for the People Community Acupuncture. Join us every Monday at 4 p.m. for a relaxing and therapeutic community acupuncture session with like-minded, health-conscious individuals from our community. Pricing is only $35. Group sessions involve yoga breathing and acupuncture for the benefit of stress, anxiety, and depression. Unwind and start your week off right. If stress is leaving you a mess, you need a checkup from the neck up. When you're feeling blue, come to A Better You. A Better You Healthcare, just behind the Paddock Mall on 27th Avenue. For further details, visit abetteryouhealthcare.com or call 615-5566. Again, that number is 615-5566.
Keep up with what's going on in the downtown area with Ocala Downtown Newspaper. Delivering thousands of newspapers to businesses in the downtown area, Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. For more info, just call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223, and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online. Let's give it up for old asphalt and a new pair of shoes. Let's give it up for a good rhythm meeting a sweet melody. For a church cookout under clear skies. Let's give it up for good things coming together, like bundling your auto and other policies together with an Allstate agent, which can save you time and keep you better protected. Let's give it up for good.
To receive your comparative insurance quote, contact the McDonald Agency at 622-2333.
Located next door to Silver Spring State Park and a few minutes from historic downtown Ocala, our award-winning Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites of Silver Springs is a place to stay for a friendly, memorable, and fun experience. Enjoy our fast and free Wi-Fi, complimentary hot breakfast, and free parking. Whether you're in town for work or play, our friendly staff will make you feel right at home. That's the Holiday Inn Express and Suites of Silver Springs.
Proud sponsor of College of Central Florida basketball on WOCA The Source.
Putting the local back into radio. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. WOCA News. Variety. Information. Now. Keep your arms and legs on the inside at all times.
This is WOCA News Talk 1370.
Your source for the #1 sports weekends. Fox Sports, only on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM.
Robin and I have come up with a fun way that you can help us to help the Marion County Literacy Council. We call it the Oompa Surprise.
For a donation of any amount, you can hire Larry and I as strolling musicians for any event, meeting, party, or get-together of any kind.
That's right, a donation of any amount. Robin plays mandolin and I play accordion. Our instrumental music will add an air of ambiance.
It goes perfect with a wine and cheese event, but think outside the box. Have fun with this. Invite us to your board meeting, your restaurant gathering, or even another fundraiser.
100% of your donation to our Oompa Surprise campaign will go to the Marion County Literacy Council and help us win this year's Kiss the Horse for Literacy campaign.
So call me and schedule a date. Call me here at WOCA The Source at 732-8000.
Just one more way WOCA The Source is reaching out to Ocala and Marion County to make this the best community possible.
Holidays and memories go hand in hand. Why not make this Easter even more memorable by serving a honey-baked ham and delicious sides and desserts? Yum! Yes, the coconut and lemon cream cakes are back.
Enjoying the family, egg hunts, and just being able to relax without having to spend hours in the kitchen will make your day a memorable one. Hop on over to Honey Baked Ham.
Call and place your holiday order today, 861-0011. That's 861-0011. Honey Baked Ham, behind Best Buy.
Buried under receipts and confusing tax code? Let Crippen & Company help. They work hard to make the tax preparation process as painless as possible. With offices in Ocala and the Villages, they're